Welcome back. Now, remember with databases, there's a ton of them, and each one of them is good for a particular problem. It has some benefits and some cons as well. Now, with databases, you always want to think about the big picture and what the benefits of that database is. In our case, we know that Redis is an in-memory storage, so that means it's super fast for us to access. We can get values really fast from it. But it has that downside where it only takes a snapshot and writes it on disk occasionally, so you might lose some data if the server goes down. And we know that Redis is often used for small pieces of data like session management or maybe even caching some small data, which we'll talk about. But another part of databases you want to look at is what kind of data types can they support. And based on these data types that fit your needs, a database might be good or bad for your project. So in this video and the next couple of videos, we're going to talk about what some of these data types are that Redis uses and what we're going to use in the future section on sessions and JWT. The very basic one, and if you remember, Redis is a key value storage. That is, we give it a key and a value, and we're going to be able to access that value from that key. So let me show you. The very basic commands with Redis is to set, and look at that. It already gives me options and hints by downloading this Redis CLI what I can put. So I can set, key, and value, and some options as well. So let's say that I want to set name to Godzilla. And that's a string. If I press enter, I get OK. Now within here, I can now get this name whenever I want by saying get name. And I get Godzilla. And that's it. Key value storage is simply that. You give it a key, you give it a value, and now you can use the get command to get that value back. Another command you can run is to see if something exists. So if I do exists name, I get, yep, I have one name. And I can also run the delete command. So I can delete the name command. Now if I run exists name, nope, there's no name there. And if I do get name, nope, I have absolutely nothing. Before I keep going into more commands, I want to show you that, once again, documentations are your friend. If you go to their documentation tab, which I have opened over here, they have a ton of resources for you. But the one we're interested in is the full list of commands. And as you can see here, they give you a really nice breakdown on what everything does. So let's have a look on one of these. We see that we want to try the expire command. And if I click on here, we see that it sets a timeout on key. After the timeout has expired, the key will automatically be deleted. All right, so let's say that we want to try this out. We can just simply say expire, or we have to set something first. So let's just set let's say session, and it'll be Jenny's session. And we'll say that expire session in how many seconds? Let's say that we want to have it in 10 seconds to expire. Now if I do get session, I get Jenny. I wait 10 seconds though and try get session again. Session is gone because I made it expire. How cool is that? Again, each database has its own set of features, and Redis has this nice expire, where you can just expire things to be deleted from the database whenever you want. Another really useful tool was something like perhaps sessions. If you want to expire a session, for example, of a user where after, let's say, a day, they have to re-sign into the app, that's an easy thing that we can do right away with Redis. Let's try a few more commands. We can set counter to 100. Again, we're just doing a simple key value storage. Now we can do another command, increment by, that's a little tough to spell, but increment by, we give it a key counter, and we can say 50, or let's do 33. Look at that. Now our counter is incremented by 33. Very cool. And as you can imagine, there's also the decrement or decrement key, and we'll decrement the counter, and we can give it, let's say, 33. And yeah, it actually, with decrement, the default and the only working default is that it is just decrementing by 1. If I run this, you see that the integer has now been decremented by 1. All right, a few more things to go through, but let's take a break, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.